Hey Mike, we've been missing you on the field for a couple of years now, but like many of us, you've been playing a little bit more with your head than your body, probably over the last decade. I still miss those times when you used to dip your shoulder, cut inside, beat a couple of players and score. The other thing, which is great, is the Mike Johnson Strollers Foundation, which is really fantastic, mate. It means I know it means a lot to you. It means a lot to all of us as well. So all the very best. Cheers.
Mike, it's a cold evening, the wind's blowing, it's getting dark, it's pretty inhospitable here, and that means it's the perfect conditions in which to play football. And what's more, this is the perfect place to play football because I'm now standing in the cage that we knew and loved and loathed at the same time, the cage in Hoxton, and it doesn't seem to have changed at all as far as I can see. You can see the goal there, which is still has those wonky nets where you could never tell if the ball had gone in just inside or outside the post. The dodgy chain link fencing around the edge, they're designed to catch your fingers, various parts of your body as you were slammed into it by Rupert. And of course, the knee shredding and thigh shredding loose surface, stone surface. And you have always, of course, have been an absolutely monumental stroller. You've been one of the founding fathers, really, even though you weren't there on the first night. You were Stroller of the Year in 2014. You kept the team going, really, for several years when it was numbers were a little low. You brought in Joao, another massive and monumental stroller. You volunteered when Rupert suggested he should take over Manchester United when Sir Alex Ferguson was stepping down. You volunteered to be Chief Medical Officer. It's such a privilege and a pleasure to know you right now and all the fun we've been having over recent weeks and months, all the things that we've been doing. But I'd say one of the most important things, perhaps the most important thing that you've done for all of us is you've given us our strapline, our catchphrase. Football's always on. And whatever the future holds, however cold it may be, however bad the surface is, however terrifying the chain link fencing, we all know this is the one perfect and elemental truth, is that football is always on. Thank you, Mike.
So Mike, I want to begin by talking about your bravery. Your bravery on the pitch. You were the first player, and so far only player, to wear black tights playing football. But most of all, your bravery in life, the remarkable way you've galvanised your friends and family during this last 24 months. We've had a lot of fun together, playing football, watching or getting tickets for Man City Chelsea games, watching as live games in your man cave, doing wine tastings, having lunch, quiz nights. It's just been so much fun, and I thank you so much for all of that. You've come up with two fantastic catchphrases which will live in the memory for eternity. Firstly, to galvanise everybody on a Wednesday night to make sure they turn out for a game of football. Football is always on. Secondly, in those hundreds of post-match pub debates that we had, ranging from Brexit to God knows what, I will also always remember you for the catchphrase, "Phil, you are talking absolute rubbish." But Mike, there is one point on which I'm crystal clear, and that is, let's be honest, whilst you have many strengths, your dress sense on the pitch isn't one of them. And I'm going to hand you over to our founding father and the person who inspired the name The Stroller, which is George The Stroller Graham, to say a few words and finish this video.
Hi, this is George Graham, known as The Stroller. I wasn't the fastest on the football pitch. So when I think I arrived from Chelsea. I think it originally started at Chelsea, and then when I moved from Chelsea to Arsenal, then it really took off. The first award for this evening goes to the worst dressed player on the pitch and off the pitch, and the winner is Mike Johnson.
Hey there, Mike. This is my memory to send to you. as I wrote to Olivia, there are so many memories of beer and pub nights and theatre and wine and politics, mainly disagreeing. But the biggest memory is football, and my great memory is a goal that you scored up at the Scrubs not long before you had to retire, actually. It was a classic, one of the great goals, Johnson special. Charlie Trevet picking the ball up at left back and seeing the hurtling run of a man hell-bent on scoring down the right, from right back all the way up behind a sleeping defender. An arrowed pass, classic Trevet, one touch, buried, bottom of the net. Johnson celebrates. It had everything about you, Mike. It had desire, determination, great skill and poise. I won't forget it. I suspect you remember it. And it sums up everything about you. And I think you'll find it might have been the winning goal as well. Because that's what you are. Lots of love. Bye.
Hi Mike, fellow strollers. Welcome to Andalusia, land of the plentiful lettuce and broccoli. I'll just introduce the rest of the team here. Jennifer on camera.
Hola.
Hola. And here we have Drifter, Vice President in charge of rat catching. And this is Mariano, Vice President in charge of rabbit hunting. And finally, Uncle Albert, Senior Vice President responsible for security. It's a little bit windy today, but we're just going to pop outside and have a quick look around.
So it's rather a windy Sunday lunchtime, but it's not too bad. A few clouds in the sky, a little bit of sunshine. We're not using the pool at the moment, but about 10, 11 degrees. Over here on the right hand side we've got our neighbours' olive groves, where we grow all the olives. That I think some of you have tried a little bit of the olive oil, and Jennifer showed you the lemon tree that we have made some limoncello from. We've got the builders in on the house, which is amplifying the roof terrace a little bit. In the distance there, on the far side of the lake, you can see the dam. That's quite a new dam, been built in the last 5 years, greatly expanded the size of the lake. And then just to the left of the dam you can see Modifa Castle, and for those of you who are Game of Thrones fans, Series 7, the castle will be in Game of Thrones. But anyway, just a little short video, and to Mike, we wish you all the best, and we're thinking of you, and I hope to see you very soon. Should be back around April time. Okay, all the best. Cheers.
Hi Mike. Look, I absolutely hate that, like a random bolt from the blue, you've been struck with this awful condition. But I'm full of respect and admiration for how you've dealt with it. Your strength, your courage and your dignity have been an inspiration to me and to all of your footballing friends. In fact, the journey that you've been through this illness, we've been on this journey with you, and it's been fantastic getting to spend this special time together. And I know that the love that you have brought in bringing us together is going to be a lasting legacy, which is a special thing for a bunch of middle-aged footballers, let's face it. I thought I'd share a recollection from the past. In fact, it's almost exactly 6 years ago today that we went on a strollers outing. It was you, me, it was Phil and Nick, and we brought our kids with us. So Nick had young Rachel, I had Susanna, and Phil had George, and I think a friend of George. and we were sitting in the East Stand, in the family section near the Man City supporters. And at the end of the first half, Chelsea were up 1-0. Lampard had scored. Beginning of the second half, Tevez scored almost immediately, and then 6 minutes later, Bellamy scored right in front of us. And you leapt out of your seat with a yes! Well, of course, you were sitting in the Chelsea supporters stand, and there was a deathly silence everywhere else around us. Suddenly, these two stewards came down, and I didn't know if they were going to escort you out of the stadium or form a ring of protection around you, but they ushered you back to your seat, where you stayed pretty calmly for the rest of the match. Which, of course, City went on to win 4-2. Lampard scored twice, but Tevez scored twice, and Bellamy scored twice. But that was a great outing, and very typical of some of the fun, family, sporting kind of get-togethers we've had. I'm going to miss you, my friend. I love you, and thanks for all the love and all the sports, and for family too.
Hi, Mike. I've often wondered what a non-playing stroller should be called, and obviously in my case I think something like stroller emeritus would be suitable. But in your case, with your epic career, I think that's a little bit inadequate. You know, for someone who's been serrated on every part of their body by the cheese grater, who suffered injuries from ankle to head, from wrist to shoulder to knee, I think we need something better. Someone who managed to play for decades and still managed to have the energy to lift a pint, or two, or three, in the pub afterwards. Something bigger, something in the pantheon. And so for you, from Stroller Emeritus, hail, Stroller in perpetuity. And I'd like to propose a toast, although I don't have a glass at the moment. Strollerensis bibite.
Hey Mike, it's Dan. I don't know why I'm saying that. It's not a fucking voicemail. I'm an idiot. I wanted to get in touch and share with you a memory that I have of you and I, or I guess touch on a lot of the different memories that I have of you. And but I think primarily the one that I most recall, I guess with a lot of affection, was our night that we spent at Cotton's after I miserably failed to get into the roundhouse and tried to negotiate, and it obviously didn't work. So we went across the road to Cotton's, where you joined Bianca, and I were particularly taken with Bianca, I think, obviously as a friend, you know, and her being a lesbian. But we had such a lovely evening, and we shared a lot of stories and had a laugh, you know, and I don't know that you and I got to do that, at least on our own, as much, and it was just really lovely. I wish we got to do it again, especially the one that we always threatened to go to in, I don't know where it is, near you. But you know, mate, I mean, I've enjoyed every single moment that we've ever spent. I enjoyed our chats, and I even got to help organise an event for you and the family. So, you know, I got to help. But mate, I will never ever forget any of the times that we spent, and I just wanted you to know that, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say. So, don't. How do you finish off these things? I don't know, mate. I love you. That's the way I'm going to finish it. All right, bye.
Mike Johnson, Strollers General. He is the very model of a modern Strollers General. His challenges out on the pitch are hardly ever criminal. Whilst he always calls a foul, he would not be known to take a dive. Thankfully, he's not yet been pulled over for too much drink and drive. His financial acumen was strong enough to get very rich. On fight night, he did his best to get us back out there on the pitch. The policemen, when they came, were unable to resolve our glitch. His man cave would surely get A-rated by S&P and Fitch. He sacrifices his body and even his own genitals. He is the very model of a modern Strollers General. He is the very model of a modern Strollers General. His conversations at the pub are never one-dimensional. He has consumed 5,000 pints and countless other minerals. He loves to challenge Phil when Phil becomes incomprehensible. His views on Brexit, though most of us do find indefensible. His choices of football dress are anything but ordinary. His wine collection, one must say, is rather quite extraordinary. He is renowned to all strollers for his great hospitality. He manages to stay upbeat despite supporting Man City. He's forged strong friendships that are the opposite of ephemeral. He is the major model of a modern stroller's general. He is the major model of a modern stroller's general. His challenges out on the pitch are hardly ever criminal. He sacrifices his body and even his own genitals. His conversations at the pub are never one-dimensional. He is the very model of a modern stroller's general. He is the very model of a modern stroller's general. Mike Johnson.
From Damon to Mike, who helped give me my happy involvement with the strollers by involving Jason, who involved me. I remember him being very popularly elected Stroller of the Year at one of our dinners. He saved a whole generation of stroller-nees, including mine, by finding us a home away from the cage. So thank you, Mike.
Hi, Mike. Greetings from the Big Apple. All the best.
Hey, Mike. Just a quick message to say thinking of you, buddy. And also, I'm particularly pleased to see that City have found Jesus this season. So I expect them to push on and really challenge Chelsea and definitely make you proud, while I will have to sit and watch another Arsenal capitulation, season in, season out. Oh dear. Just the way it goes, isn't it? Really hope to see you soon. And like I said, we're always thinking of you. And the other guys the other night were talking about, favourite Mike Johnson moments. And the ones that spring to my mind very much are, sadly, you berating someone's male nanny who never turned up again, showing that playing for the Strollers is truly only for the strong. And I'm sure you're staying strong and your family are doing a great job looking after you. Like I said, hope to see you soon, dude. And thinking of you. All right, bye.
Hi Mike, this is Daniel, one of the sort of latecomers to the Stroller gang. I started playing, I remember, roughly just over 3 years ago after returning from the United States. And one memory that will always stand out to me is the way in which you accepted me and embraced me as a member of the Stroller Circle. I joined at a time when I had certain pressures, preparing myself for a new career, studying for the bar exam, and having passed that and told everyone about that particular achievement. I remember you were the first to send your congratulations, and that was probably the one message I looked out for the most, and I still appreciate that. You were constantly a positive force on and off the pitch. I remember you were a feisty competitor, and you definitely took that into the debate room as well after Wednesday night games, and even on the occasional Sunday when you came along. All I can say is I salute you and thank you from the bottom of my heart for always including me and helping me along my journey to where I am today. I did have personal crises at the time, and playing on Wednesdays was a very positive distraction for me. And I looked forward to every Wednesday as I studied meticulously through the most boring material possible. But I've stayed loyal, and I'm still a member of the Strollers family, and I thank you in particular for that. Thank you very much.
Mike, I'm going to try and do this in one, and it's probably going to be tough because I'm a bit lost for words. And it's funny because the first 5 years or so that I knew you, I was always lost for words around you because you've always been my Strollers idol. I looked up to you. I used to love you crunching the back of me in football because I always saw it as like the big brother putting me in my place. And I might go over my time limit, but you always told me, or you told me a long time ago, the story about how you bought your place and how at the time it was a bit too expensive, but you wanted it and you scraped everything together to make it happen. Well, I always kept that in the back of my mind. And when I found the place that I wanted to buy, I couldn't afford it, but you were always in the back of my mind, and I somehow managed to do it. And so a big influence of why I have a home that I love is because of you. So I want to say I have so much respect, love. I miss you on the pitch, miss you off the pitch, and I'm sure I'm going over my time allocation, but thinking of you every day, and my love to you and to the family as well. Say goodbye.
I'm Mike. Highbury Fields, where it all began 32 years ago, as and Elliot were barely born. Wednesday night, of course, jumpers for goalposts. There's no email back then, so it was even harder to know who was going to turn up when we'd play local teams. Rupert would get us into fights with them. We'd have huge rows with the people in the posh houses behind, because then, as now, football was banned. I like this place so much I actually moved in. I've lived here ever since. It became a bit embarrassing to have arguments with the posh guys because they became parents of kids in the same class as ours. I know I decamped to the lovely Friday game for a while, but I'm back on Wednesdays now because the Strollers are family. And thanks so much, Mike, for being the heart and soul of something that's meant so much to so many of us.
Hey Mike, I think you are a man I always associate with fine red wine, partly because you very kindly stored many of my bottles for so many years, but also more recently because of Olivia's amazing photos and videos of you drinking pretty heavily over the last few months. I want to say how much we all miss you, both on the pitch. I really miss your lancing runs down the right wing and off it, with your wonderful presence in the pavilion. And I just want to wish you good luck and say that I'm thinking of you.